3 hours later, the council chamber looked very different. Most of the seats were empty. Only 12 aliens remained, the leaders of the biggest empires and a few representatives of smaller species who were too scared to leave. The 4 humans still sat at the round table, but now the table was covered with papers. New papers. Papers with new rules written in simple words that every species could understand. Yoon-ji-han finished writing and put down her pen. "Done," she said. Jin-ho Park picked up the papers and stood up. He was not smiling now, but he did not look angry either. He looked like someone who had just finished a hard job. "These are the new rules," he said. Rule number 1. No species in this council will ever demand children from another species. Anyone who asks for children will be considered an enemy of humanity. Grixtal, who looked much smaller in his big chair now, raised one hand. "What does that mean? Enemy of humanity?" Mina Kim looked at her tablet. "It means we will hunt you across the galaxy until you are extinct. It means we will turn your planets into glass. It means your species will become a story that other species tell their children to scare them." "That is too harsh," Veltar said, but his voice was very quiet. Sun-Ho Lee laughed. "Too harsh? You wanted to steal our babies. This is mercy." Jin-Ho continued reading. Rule number 2. The tribute system is ended. Earth will pay fair prices for fair services. No more, no less. "But the tribute has been our way for thousands of years," an alien from the back said. "Your way was stupid," Yoon-ji-han said. "Strong. Species taking from weak species, that is not civilization, that is just bullying." Rule number 3, Jin-Ho read. Any species that attacks a human colony or human ship will face the full military might of Earth. This includes economic attacks, blockades, or threats. Admiral Song's voice came through the speakers again. "To be clear, that means if you hurt any human anywhere, we will hurt you everywhere." Rule number 4, Jin-Ho continued. Earth is now a full member of this council with equal voting rights. Human representatives will attend all meetings. Human opinions will be heard and respected. "You cannot just declare yourself a full member," Grixtal said. Mina Kim stood up and walked to the big screen. She pressed a button, and the view changed to show space around the council station. Human ships were everywhere, like a metal cloud, around the station. "We are not asking," she said. "We are telling you how it will be." Rule number 5, Jin-Ho read. All smaller species in this council will be protected from bullying by larger species. Earth will help any species that asks for protection from unfair treatment. This made some of the aliens look surprised. A small blue alien in the back row stood up. "You would help us?" the blue alien asked. "Even though we are not human?" Sun-Ho Lee nodded. "We do not like bullies. It does not matter what species the bully is, or what species they are bullying." Rule number 6, Jin-Ho continued. All trade agreements will be fair. No species can demand more than 20% of another species' production. No species can demand unique technologies or cultural items. "This will destroy our economy," Veltar said. "Good," Yoon-ji-han said. "Your economy was built on stealing. Time to build a new one." Rule number 7, Jin-Ho read. Any species that wants to leave this council can leave freely. No punishment, no attacks, no blockades. And rule number 8, he finished. These rules cannot be changed unless every species agrees, including humans. Jin-Ho put the papers down on the table. Those are the new rules. Any questions? The chamber was very quiet. The aliens looked at each other, but no one spoke. "I have a question," Grixtal finally said. "What if we refuse these rules? What if we vote them down?" Mina Kim smiled. It was the first real smile any human had shown in the chamber, but it was not a nice smile. "Feel free to try," she said. "Vote them down. See what happens." Admiral Song's voice filled the chamber. "Councilors, you have 1 hour to vote. If these rules are not accepted, we will consider it an act of war against humanity." "But that is not fair," an alien complained. "You are forcing us to agree." "Yes," Sun-Ho Lee said. "Just like you tried to force us to give you our children." How does it feel? Yoon Han stood up and walked to the window. She looked out at all the human ships floating in space. You know what is funny? She said. For 3 years we tried to be good neighbors. We smiled and bowed and paid your tribute. We followed your rules even when they were stupid. We hoped you would learn to respect us. She turned around to look at the aliens. But you never learned. You just kept pushing and pushing. You thought our kindness was weakness. You thought our politeness meant we were afraid. Mina Kim joined her at the window. We were not afraid, we were being civilized. But you did not want civilized, Jinho said. You wanted weak enemies you could push around. So now you get to see what humans are like when we stop being civilized, Sun-Ho Lee added. The voting began. One by one, the aliens voted. They did not want to vote yes, but they looked at the screen showing all the human ships and they voted yes anyway. Even Grixatal voted yes, though he looked like he was eating something that tasted bad. When the voting was finished, Admiral Song spoke. Again, thank you for your cooperation. Human ships will remain in your systems for the next month to make sure everyone understands the new rules. A month? Veltar asked. Just to be sure, Mina Kim said. We want to make sure no one forgets what happened here today. Jinho Park gathered up the papers with the new rules. This meeting is finished. Earth will send new representatives next month for the regular trade discussions. Will you be coming back? Grixtal asked. Jinho looked at him for a long moment. That depends. Are you planning to threaten human children again? No, Grixtal said quickly. Never again. Then we will be polite neighbors again, Jinho said. We will smile and bow and follow the rules, because that is who we are when people treat us with respect. The 4 humans packed their things and walked toward the exit. As they reached the door, Yoon Han turned around one more time. Remember, she said to the remaining aliens. We tried to be friends first. You chose war. We just finished it. Then the humans left the chamber. Outside in space, the human ships began to move. Some of them disappeared, becoming invisible again. Others moved toward the jump points that would take them back to human space. But many remained, watching and waiting. In the chamber, the aliens sat in silence. They finally understood what they had done. They had tried to bully a species that had conquered their own planet through pure determination. They had threatened the children of a species that would burn the galaxy to protect their families. Most importantly, they had learned that when humans are polite, it is not because they are weak. It is because they are choosing to be kind. And choice means they can always choose differently. The age of tribute was over. The age of respect had begun, and it had all started the day the Council witnessed humanity's courteous mode turn off in real time. The screen kept showing more ships. They appeared out of empty space like magic, but it was not magic. It was human technology that the aliens had never seen before. Ships that could hide themselves so well that even the Council's best sensors could not find them. Grixtal stared at the screen. His yellow eyes were wide now, not bright and confident like before. How many ships do you have out there? Mina Kim looked at her tablet. In this system, about 50. 50 ships, Veltar said. His forearms were shaking harder now. That is impossible. We would have seen them coming. Sun-Ho Lee laughed, but it was not a happy sound. You did see them coming. 3 days ago. You thought they were trade ships, bringing metal and food for tribute. Those were warships? An alien in the back row shouted. Every human ship is a warship, Yoon Han said. We do not build anything that cannot fight. Jinho Park walked back to his seat, but he did not sit down. Instead, he stood behind his chair and put his hands on the back of it. Tell me, Council. Prime, how many ships does the Vorthak Empire have? Grixtal did not answer right away. That is military information. I will tell you, Mina Kim said. You have 47 ships that can fight in space. The Zalarian hegemony has 31. All the other species in this council together have maybe 60 more. How do you know that? Veltar demanded. Because we have been watching you for 3 years, Sun-Ho Lee said. We know where every ship is. We know how many weapons they have. We know how fast they can move. While you were making demands and threatening us, Yunji-han added, we were studying you. The screen changed again. Now it showed a different view of space. This one showed the whole system, the council, station, the planets, the moons, everything. And around every important place were more ships. Human ships. This is impossible, Grixtal said. His voice was getting higher, like he was scared. You are a small species. You only have one planet. Jinho Park smiled that cold smile again. Who told you we only have one planet? The aliens in the chamber made worried sounds. Some of them were leaving now, walking quickly toward the exits. Earth is your home world, Veltar said. The only human world. Earth is where we started, Mina Kim said. We have been traveling among the stars for longer than you think. The screen changed one more time. Now it showed a map of this part of the galaxy. Red dots marked human settlements. There were hundreds of them. We have been neighbors for 50 years, Sunho Lee said. You just did not know it. You have colonies near our worlds? Grixtal stood up from his chair, but now he looked small and afraid instead of big and threatening. We have colonies everywhere, Yunji-han said. We like to explore. We like to see new places. We like to be ready for trouble. Jinho Park touched something on his tablet. A new voice came through the speakers. A woman's voice, speaking clear. Galactic Standard with a human accent. This is Fleet Admiral Nari Song of the Earth Defense Force. Council Prime Grixtal, can you hear me? Grixtal looked around the chamber like he was hoping someone would help him. But all the other aliens were just as scared as he was. Yes, I can hear you, he said. Good, Admiral Song said. I understand there has been some discussion about human children. We were just trying to help. Grixtal started to say. Help? The Admiral's voice got colder. You want to steal 10,000 children every year. You want to separate babies from their mothers. You call that help? Mina Kim spoke into her tablet. Admiral, please show the Council our full deployment. With pleasure, Commander Kim. The screen went black for a moment. Then it lit up with a view that made several aliens fall out of their chairs. It showed space around 20 different star systems. Important systems. Systems where the Vorthak and Zilarian governments had their main planets. Around every single system were human ships. Hundreds of ships. Thousands of ships. Every military base you have, Admiral Song said through the speakers. Every important planet, every space station, we have ships there. We have been there for hours waiting. Waiting for what? Grixtal whispered. Waiting to see if you would hurt human children, Mina Kim said. Jinho Park walked closer to the screen. He pointed at one of the star systems. That is your home, World Council Prime. Do you see the ships around it? Grixtal looked. There were so many human ships around his planet that they looked like a cloud. If you had taken even one human child, Jinho said, those ships would have turned your world into a ball of fire. You would destroy a whole planet? Veltar asked. For our children, Sunho Lee said, we would destroy 100 planets. Hyunji-han stood up and walked to the center of the chamber. Even though she was young and small, all the huge aliens looked at her like she was the most dangerous thing in the room. Do you want to know something funny? She said. We were not, even trying to be sneaky. We just parked our ships where we wanted to park them. You never looked because you thought we were weak. You thought humans were stupid, Mina Kim said. You thought we did not know how to fight. You thought we would just give you our children and say thank you, Sunho Lee added. Admiral Song's voice came through the speakers again. Council Prime, I have a question for you. What? What question? Grixtal asked. How do you think we became the top species on our planet? Grixtal did not answer. We killed everything that tried to hurt us, the Admiral said. Everything that tried to take our food. Everything that tried to take our homes. Everything that tried to take our children. We are very good at killing things, Jinho Park said. We have been practicing for millions of years. The chamber was almost empty now. Most of the smaller aliens had left. Only the biggest, most important aliens remained, and they all looked terrified. "What do you want from us?" Grixtal asked. Mina Kim walked back to the window. She looked out at the stars, but now instead of seeing empty space, everyone knew there were human ships out there. Watching. Waiting. "We want respect," she said. "We want to be left alone. We want fair treatment. And we want to make sure," Sunho Lee said, "that no one ever threatens human children again." Yoonji Han sat back down at the table. She picked up her pen and started writing on a piece of paper. "What are you writing?" Veltar asked. She looked up at him. "New rules. Rules that will make sure this never happens again." "You cannot make rules for the council," Grixtal said, but his voice had no strength in it. Jinho Park sat down in his chair. He leaned back and put his feet up on the table, something he would never have done when he was being polite. "Council Prime," he said, "look at the screen. Look at all those ships. Look at how easily we surrounded your worlds without you even knowing." Grixtal looked. "Now tell me," Jinho continued, "who do you think makes the rules now?" Outside the window, more human ships appeared. They kept coming and coming like there was no end to them. Each one was bigger than anything the aliens had ever built. And in the chamber, 4 humans sat at a table and wrote new rules for the galaxy. Rules that would make sure no one ever threatened their children again. The aliens finally understood. They had not been negotiating with diplomats for 3 years. They had been talking to the advanced scouts of the most dangerous species in the galaxy, and now the rest of the humans had arrived. The door opened and the 4 humans walked back into the chamber. But something was different now. Very different. Jinho Park still wore his clean suit. His tie was still straight, but his smile was gone. Not hidden, not smaller than before. Just gone. His face looked like it was made of stone. Mina Kim walked behind him. Her blue uniform was perfect as always, but she moved like a hunter. Her eyes went from alien to alien around the chamber, and wherever she looked, the smaller aliens seemed to move back in their seats. Sunho Lee carried his folder, but he was not holding it the same way. Before he held it like papers for a business meeting. Now he held it like a weapon. His other hand hung at his side, and his fingers moved like he was reaching for something that was not there. Yoonji Han was last. She looked very young still, but her face was different. The scared look was gone. Instead, she looked angry. The kind of angry that comes from deep inside and never goes away. The 4 humans took their seats at the round table. The chamber became quiet as they sat down. Even the aliens who liked to whisper stopped making noise. Grixtal looked at them from his big chair. His yellow eyes were bright with happiness. He thought he had won. "Human delegation," he said. His voice boomed through the speakers. "You have had your hour. What is your answer?" Jinho Park stood up. But this time he did not bow. He did not put his hands together. He just stood there and looked at Grixtal. "We need to make sure we understand," Jinho said. His voice was different now, still calm but colder, like ice on a winter morning. "You want to take our children, 10,000 every year. You want to separate them from their mothers and fathers forever. You want to erase everything they know about being human." "Yes," Grixtal said. "This is what we decided. And if we refuse, you will kick Earth out of the Council. Other species can attack our planet and you will not help us." "Correct." Grixtal's mouth made that shape like a smile. "So you see you have no choice." Jinho Park nodded slowly. "I see." He turned to look at Mina Kim. "Mina, do you understand what they are asking?" Mina Kim stood up. When she spoke, her voice carried through the chamber without any help from speakers. It was not loud, but somehow every alien could hear every word clearly. "Yes, Ambassador Park," she said. "They want to take our children and hurt them. They want to make our children forget their parents. They want to steal 10,000 human babies every year until there are no more human children left on Earth." Some of the smaller aliens in the chamber made worried sounds. A few of them looked at the exits like they were thinking about leaving. Veltar stood up on his four legs. The humans understand. Good. So you agree to our terms. Sun Ho Lee opened his folder, but instead of pulling out papers with numbers, he pulled out something else. A small device that looked like a phone, but different. He pressed a button on it and a blue light came on. Actually, Sun Ho said, we need to make a call first. Grixtal made his grinding sound. Call? To who? To Earth, Mina Kim said. She pulled out a similar device. Then Yoonji Han did the same. All four humans now had the strange devices with blue lights. We need to tell our people what you decided, Jinho said. We need to tell them that aliens want to steal human children. We need to tell them that you think humans are weak and easy to control. The devices made a soft humming sound. Then a voice came out of them. A woman's voice speaking in the human language called Korean. The words came fast and angry. Mina Kim answered in the same language. Her voice was also angry now. She spoke for a long time, and sometimes she pointed at Grixtal and the other aliens. More voices joined the conversation. Men and women, all speaking Korean, all sounding angry. The aliens in the chamber could not understand the words, but they could understand the tone. It was the sound of people getting ready for war. Yoonji Han spoke into her device. When she finished, she looked at Grixtal. I just told my mother what you want to do. She said some words that I cannot translate in polite company. Sun Ho Lee put his device away. The message is sent. Earth knows what you asked for. So, Grixtal said, what will Earth do? Send angry messages, file complaints? Humans are good at talking, but you do nothing. Jinho Park sat down in his chair. He leaned back and put his hands together. For the first time since returning to the chamber, he smiled. But this smile was not like his old diplomatic smile. This smile was cold and sharp, like the edge of a knife. Nothing, he said. Is that what you think? Mina Kim walked to the big window again. She looked out at the stars and space. Tell me, Council Prime, what do you know about human history? Your history? Grixtal laughed. You are a young species, you have no real history. We have been alive for 300,000 years, Sun Ho Lee said. For most of that time, we spent our days trying to kill each other. We got very good at it, Yoonji Han added. The chamber was getting quieter. Even the big aliens were starting to look worried. Mina Kim turned away from the window. Do you know what humans do to people who hurt children? You file complaints, Veltar said, but his voice was not as confident as before. No, Jinho said. We burn their cities. We hunt them across continents. We remember their names for 1,000 years and teach our children to hate them. On Earth, Sun Ho Lee said, we have a saying. There is no fury like a parent protecting their child. Do you know what fury means? Some of the smaller aliens were definitely looking at the exits now. A few of them were quietly leaving their seats. You are trying to scare us, Grixtal said. Humans are peaceful. You smile and bow and agree to everything. Yoonji Han laughed. It was not a happy sound. We smile because we choose to smile. We are peaceful because we choose to be peaceful. But choice means we can also choose differently. Mina Kim pressed something on her tablet. The big screen in the chamber lit up. It showed a view of space outside the station, empty black space with distant stars. Do you see anything interesting out there? She asked. Grixtal looked at the screen. I see nothing. Look closer, Jinho said. The screen changed. Now it showed the same view but with different sensors. And suddenly the empty space was not empty anymore. There were shapes out there, big shapes, dark shapes that had been hiding. What? Grixtal started to say. Those are human ships, Mina Kim said. They have been there for 6 hours, ever since we went into our private meeting. The shapes on the screen were huge, bigger than any ship the aliens had ever seen, and there were many of them, too many to count quickly. How many? Veltar asked. His forearms were shaking. Enough, Sun Ho Lee said. Jinho Park stood up again. This time when he looked at Grixtal, the alien leader seemed smaller somehow. You made a mistake, Jinho said. You thought humans were weak because we were polite. You thought we were easy to control because we smiled and followed your rules. You thought we were afraid of you. You are afraid, Grixtal said, but his voice was not strong anymore. No, Mina Kim said. We were being nice. There is a difference. The screen showed more ships appearing. They just materialized out of nothing like they had been invisible before. The aliens in the chamber were making scared sounds now. How long have they been out there? An alien in the back shouted. Long enough, Yoonji Han said. Jinho Park walked closer to Grixtal's chair. Each step echoed in the now quiet chamber. Council Prime, he said. Let me explain something about humans. We spent millions of years climbing to the top of the food chain on a planet full of things that wanted to eat us. We survived ice ages and volcanoes and meteors from space. We built weapons that could destroy our whole world, just because we were curious if we could. He stopped right in front of Grixtal's chair. And you thought we would just give you our children? The chamber was silent except for the humming of air through the vents. Outside on the screen, more ships kept appearing. So many ships that the stars were disappearing behind them. What do you want? Grixtal asked. His voice was very small now. Jinho Park's smile got wider. What we have always wanted, to be left alone, to raise our children in peace, to be treated with respect. And if we say no? Mina Kim answered from the window. Then you will learn why. Humans spent so long fighting each other. We had to practice on someone. The next morning came too fast. Jinho Park walked back into the council chamber with the same calm steps as before. His suit was clean and pressed. His tie was straight. His smile was in place. Behind him, Mina Kim, Sunho Lee, and Yoonji Han followed, like they had done many times. But something was different today. The air felt heavy like before a big storm. The aliens in the chamber seemed more excited than usual. They whispered to each other and made sounds that might have been laughter. Grixtal was already sitting in his big chair. His yellow eyes watched the humans walk to their seats. When all 4 humans were sitting, he stood up. His shadow fell across the table like a dark cloud. Humans, he said. His voice filled the chamber through the speakers. Have you decided about the new payment? Jinho Park stood up and bowed like he always did. Council Prime, we have talked with our leaders, on Earth. The amount you ask for is very hard for us, but we want to work together. Maybe we can find a different way. Some aliens made angry sounds, others laughed. Veltar, the green alien with 4 arms, stood up. Different way, Veltar said. You had 3 years to find different ways. Now you will do what we say or you will leave the council forever. Sunho Lee opened his folder and pulled out some papers. He showed them to Jinho. The papers had numbers and charts on them. We can pay more, Jinho said, but not 4 times more. Maybe 2 times more, if we do it slowly over 5 years. Grixtal made a sound like rocks grinding together. 2 times? You think you can make deals with us? You are nothing. Your planet is small. Your people are weak. You will pay what we say. Mina Kim wrote something on her tablet. Her pen pressed down hard, enough to make marks on the table underneath. There is more, Grixtal said. He looked around the chamber at all the other aliens. The council has made another decision, a decision about your children. The chamber became very quiet. Even the whispers stopped. Jinho Park's smile stayed on his face, but something changed in his eyes. Our children? Jinho asked. His voice was still polite, but it sounded different, like he was asking a question he really did not want to hear the answer to. Grixtal's mouth made that shape that was like a smile, but not nice. Yes. Human children. The council has learned that human children are dangerous. They learn to fight. They learn to hate. They learn to make war. This is bad for galaxy peace. Yoonji Han stopped writing. Her pen stayed in the air above her paper. She did not move. I do not understand, Jinho said. Our children are not dangerous. They go to school. They play games. They help their families. Veltar's 4 arms moved as he talked. This is the problem. Human children learn wrong things. They learn that fighting is good. They learn that humans are special. This must stop. Sun Ho Lee put down his papers. He folded his hands together on the table. His knuckles were white. What do you want us to do? Jinho asked. Grixtal stood up, taller. The council has made a new law, the Cultural Preservation Act. Every year, Earth will give us 10,000 children, young children, age 5 to 12. We will take them to special schools where they will learn better ways. The words hit the humans like stones. For a moment, nobody moved, nobody breathed. The chamber was so quiet that the sound of air moving through the vents seemed loud. Jinho Park's smile went away. For 3 seconds his face showed nothing at all. Then the smile came back, but it was different now. Smaller, tighter. 10,000 children, he said. Every year. Yes, Grixtal said. They will live in our schools. They will learn our ways. They will become better than they would on Earth. We are helping you. Mina Kim's tablet made a small sound. She had been pressing the buttons, but now she stopped. She put the tablet down on the table very carefully, like it might break. These children, Jinho said. When would they come back to Earth? Grixtal made that grinding sound again. Come back? Why would they come back? They will have new families, better families. They will forget about Earth and become good galactic citizens. Hyunji Han dropped her pen. It rolled across the table and fell to the floor. The small sound echoed in the big chamber. She did not pick it up. Forever? She said. Her voice was very small. They can never see their parents again? Veltar's arms moved like he was brushing away something unimportant. Human parents teach wrong things. Children need better teachers, better examples. We will be their new families. Sun Ho Lee slowly took off his glasses. He cleaned them with a small cloth, even though they were already clean. His hands were very steady, but his breathing was not. Jinho Park asked for water. A small robot brought him a glass. He drank it slowly, like he was thinking very hard about something. When he put the glass down, it made a small sound on the table. Council Prime, he said. Let me make sure I understand. You want our children, 10,000 every year. You want to take them away from their mothers and fathers. Forever. And you want us to agree to this. Yes, Grixtal said. And you will agree, because you have no choice. Other aliens around the chamber made sounds of agreement. They liked this plan. Some of them looked at the humans like they were already counting the children they would get. Mina, Kim stood up. She walked to the big window that looked out at space. She stood there with her back to the room. Her hands were behind her back and she was holding them very tight together. What happens if we say no? Jinho asked. Grixtal's yellow eyes got brighter. If you say no, Earth leaves the council. No more trade, no more protection. Other species can attack your planet and we will not help. Your people will die alone in space. Sun Ho Lee put his glasses back on. He gathered his papers into a neat pile. Each movement was very careful and exact. How long do we have to decide? Jinho asked. 1 hour, Grixtal said. This is not hard to decide. You give us children, or you all die. Simple choice. Yunji, Han bent down to pick up her pen. When she sat back up, her face was very pale. She looked at the other humans, then at the aliens around the chamber. 1 hour, Jinho said. That should be enough time. He turned to look at his team. Mina Kim was still at the window looking out at the stars. Sun Ho Lee was organizing his papers. Yunji Han was holding her pen like she might break it. We will need a private room to discuss this, Jinho said. Grixtal pointed to a door at the side of the chamber. There, 1 hour. Then you come back and say yes. The 4 humans stood up together. They walked to the door without saying anything to each other. Their footsteps sounded different now, harder, like they were walking on stone instead of soft floor. Before they went through the door, Mina Kim turned around. She looked at Grixtal and all the other aliens in the chamber. Her face was very calm, but her eyes were different, like winter ice. 1 hour, she said. Then the humans went through the door and it closed behind them. In the chamber, the aliens laughed and made happy sounds. They had won. The weak humans would have to give them children or they would die. Either way, the aliens got what they wanted. They had no idea what the humans were talking about in the private room. They had no idea what messages were being sent to Earth. They had no idea that they had just made the biggest mistake in the history of the galaxy. But they would find out soon. Very soon. The Great Council chamber was huge. So huge that a person could shout from one end and barely be heard at the other. The walls were made of some kind of blue crystal that glowed softly. Hundreds of alien beings sat in curved rows that went up and up like a giant stadium. At the center was a round table where the most important aliens sat. Ambassador Jinho Park walked into the chamber with calm steps. His black suit was perfectly clean. His tie was straight. His face showed the kind of smile that people use when they meet strangers at important events. Behind him walked 3 other humans. Mina Kim was tall and walked like a soldier. Her uniform was dark blue with shiny metal pins on the chest. She carried a small computer tablet, and her eyes moved around the room, watching everything. Sunho Lee wore a gray suit and carried a thick folder full of papers. His job was to understand all the trade rules and money things. The last human was Yoonji Han. She was young and new to this work, but she tried to look as calm as the others. The humans took their seats at the round table. Around them sat beings that looked nothing like humans. Some had green skin. Some had too many arms. Some had big eyes like insects. Others had skin that looked like tree bark. But they all had one thing the same. They all looked at the humans like the humans were weak. At the biggest chair sat Grixtal, the leader of the Vorthak Empire. He was twice as tall as a human, even when sitting down. His skin was gray like stone and had bumps all over it. His eyes were yellow and had no warmth in them. When he looked at the humans, his mouth made a shape that might have been a smile. But it was not a nice smile. "The council meeting will start now," Grixtal said. His voice was deep and loud. It came out of speakers around the room so everyone could hear. "Today we talk about the new trade rules." Jinho Park stood up. He put his hands together and bowed a little bit. "Thank you, Council Prime Grixtal. The people of Earth are honored to be here today. We hope to find good solutions that help everyone." Some of the aliens made sounds that might have been laughing. But it was not happy laughing. A green alien with 4 arms stood up. This was Veltar from the Zilarian hegemony. "The small human speaks of solutions, but humans take more than they give. This must change." Sunho Lee opened his folder and pulled out some papers. He whispered something to Jinho. Jinho nodded and stood up again. "We understand your concerns," Jinho said. His voice stayed calm and polite. "Our records show that Earth has always paid what was asked. We have followed every rule. We have never been late with any payment." Grixtal made a sound like rocks falling down a mountain. "Payment? You call those tiny amounts payment? Earth is rich. Earth has metals and foods and technologies, but you give us almost nothing." Mina Kim wrote something on her tablet. Her face did not change, but her fingers pressed the buttons a little harder than before. "What do you want us to pay?" Jinho asked. He still sounded friendly, like he was asking about the weather. Grixtal stood up. When he was standing, he was much taller than any human. His shadow fell across the table. 4 times more than now, 4 times more metals, 4 times more food, 4 times more technology. This is fair." The chamber became very quiet. Even the aliens who usually made noise were silent. 4 times more meant that Earth would have to give away almost everything they made. Yoonji Han dropped her pen. It made a small sound when it hit the table. In the big quiet chamber, it sounded loud. Jinho Park's smile did not go away. "That is a big change. We would need time to think about this." "Time," Veltar said. His 4 arms moved around as he talked. "Humans always want time. You had 3 years to prove you could pay properly. You failed," Sunho Lee whispered to Jinho again. This time he showed him some numbers on a paper. Jinho looked at the numbers and nodded. "Council Prime," Jinho said. "If we paid 4 times more, our people would not have enough food for themselves. They would not have enough metals to build homes or machines. Is this what the council wants? Grixtal sat back down. His chair made a sound like it was breaking under his weight. What we want is respect. For too long, small species have taken from the galaxy without giving back enough. This ends now. Around the chamber, other aliens nodded. Some made sounds of agreement. The big species liked this idea. The small species looked scared but said nothing. Mina Kim touched a button on her tablet. The screen lit up blue for just a second. She typed something very fast, then put the tablet down. Jinho Park stood up again. We respect the Council's wisdom, but we ask for one day to talk with our leaders on Earth. This is a big decision. Our people should know about it. One day, Grixtal said. But remember, humans, the galaxy is big and you are small. Do not think you can make demands here. The words hung in the air like smoke. Other aliens whispered to each other. Some looked happy. Others looked worried. Jinho bowed again. We understand completely. We will have an answer tomorrow. As the humans gathered their things, Mina Kim stood up and walked to the big window that showed space outside. Through the clear wall, she could see stars and the dark between them. She stood there for a long time, not moving. Sunho Lee came up, beside her. The numbers do not work, he said quietly. If we pay what they want, millions of people will die. Mina nodded, but did not look away from the stars. I know. Yoonji Han joined them at the window. What will we do? Mina Kim finally turned around. For just a moment, her face was different. Not the polite face she showed the aliens. Something else, something harder. But then the polite look came back. We will do what humans always do, she said. We will find a way. Jinho Park finished putting papers in his bag. He walked over to the others at the window. Together, the four humans looked out at the stars. They did not talk, but somehow they all understood each other. Behind them, the aliens continued their meeting. They talked about how weak humans were, how easy it would be to make them pay more, how humans always smiled and agreed to everything because they were scared. If the aliens had looked closer at the humans by the window, they might have noticed something. The humans were very still, very quiet, like animals that are listening for danger. But the aliens did not look closer. They were too busy celebrating their victory over the weak humans who always said yes to everything. Outside the window, the stars looked the same as always, cold and bright and very far away. But somewhere among those stars was Earth. And on Earth, people were waiting to hear what happened at the council meeting. Soon, they would know that their children's future had been threatened. Soon they would know that aliens thought humans were weak and easy to control. The aliens in the council chamber had no idea what was coming. They thought they knew humans. They thought they understood what humans were like. They were about to learn how wrong they were. But that would come later. For now, the humans smiled and said polite things and acted like they always did. They were very good at acting. They had been practicing for 3 whole years. The meeting ended and the humans walked out of the chamber. Their footsteps echoed in the long hallway. They walked together, 4 small figures in a place built for giants. Tomorrow would be different. Tomorrow, everything would change. But the aliens did not know that yet.